the Correctional Services Department is under fire after a scathing report by the public protector over Thabo Bester's escape from prison. The rape and murder convict is accused of faking his death in a fire while incarcerated at the privately run Mangaung Correctional Center in 2022. Bester allegedly received help from his then-girlfriend, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, and several prison officials. Linda Mnisi joining us now in studio for some detail as to the detail of this report. Linda, good evening to you. Take us briefly into the content of what the public protector has concluded here.
Indeed, Oli. So the public protector received a complaint last year on the 23rd of March 2023 from a complainant who wanted to know, or wanted the public protector to investigate, two key issues, and those relate to whether the officials at the Department of Correctional Services acted accordingly and timeously to report the issue of the escape of Thabo Bester, as well as whether the deputy minister, the then deputy minister, Patekile Holomisa, acted timeously as well upon receiving tip-offs that Thabo Bester had escaped. And of course, after that, they had to take into consideration a number of documents and evidence relating to the escape, engaging a number of key institutions, key individuals that would be implicated and would be needed to act in terms of this particular investigations. And those, of course, would include the SAPS, the Correctional Services, the Commissioner himself. And there is a particular timeline, Oli, that I want to take you through that, of course, was detailed in those documents in terms of how the public protector reached his findings. So in that particular timeline, they go from the point when this incident happened and the number of months that it took before this particular escape was reported. You recall, according to reports and according to what the DCS told the Parliament at the time, was that the incident happened in the early hours of April the 3rd. And of course, the following day, there was a report from the post-mortem report, this is the 4th of April, from a doctor who had conducted a post-mortem on the body that was found at that particular cell. Now, that doctor raised an alarm in terms of foul play that he suspected might have taken place during the fire at that particular cell, cell 35 at the Mangaung Correctional Facility. And based on that, then kick-started the investigations with the police. But the question now is, did the officials raise that particular, incident on time? And we know that now on the 9th of May 2022, a Mr. Maonono, who is a controller at the Mangaung Correctional Center, appointed investigators to conduct an investigation into the unnatural death of that particular inmate. On the 18th of November, these investigators then produced a report. This is now a couple of months early down the line. They produced that report. And of course, a couple of days later, the 22nd of November, this MCC controller, Mr. Mahonono, signs this investigative report. And then on the 25th of November, it's then handed to the national office, to a Ms. Pahlani in the national office of the DCS, who received that report by hand for finalization and submission to the National Commissioner. The very same day, the National Commissioner receives that particular report and asks whether there's been a criminal case opened with regards to this incident. Now, on the 12th of January, this is a couple of months down the line, on the 12th of January 2023, this is when the criminal case of an escape was opened, months after Thabo Bester had escaped. And then what then happens next from there is that on the 31st, G4S then submits its own report in terms of what could have happened. The report that was submitted by DCS highlighted issues of how this thing happened. They, raised flags around G4S's conduct, the conduct of the employees when this thing happened, and whether there was approval for Bester to even be put in an isolated cell. It turned out that there was no formal written approval for Thabo Bester to be put into that cell. The handing over of that body to Dr. Nandipha Magudumana was also one of the issues that were raised in that report. But on the 2nd of May 2023, that's when the notice for termination of that contract with the Bloemfontein Correctional contracts was submitted by DCS. You'd remember that the contract relates to the relationship between the Department of Correctional Services and Bloemfontein Correctional Contracts, which then subcontracted G4S to handle this particular prison, which is the Mangaung Correctional Center. Now, what the public protector says is that these D4S officials took time to report this incident. In fact, it took a couple of months, about 6 months, before the report into what exactly happened was handed over, and around 55 days for the criminal case to be opened, which, according to the public protector, is found wanting. They are saying that, the public protector rather, is saying that the claim that they took time and delayed in reporting this issue is unsubstantiated. And of course, we also have the issue of the deputy minister and what he found there in terms of what, he is said to have done. He received tip-offs for 2 months in June and in November. And did he act on that? The public protector finding that, in fact, at the time when he was informed about this incident, investigations had already been underway. Therefore, it is unsubstantiated to say that he did not act timeously. Oli?
Yeah. Let's talk about the recommendations of the public protector, therefore, Linda.
Okay, so the public protector has made a number of recommendations, and like I said, and I indicated earlier, to a number of institutions. Firstly, the Minister of Correctional Services, the public protector says, the Minister of Correctional Services must take note of the findings of improper conduct against the DCS officials. You remember that there was a disciplinary hearing that was undertaken, and those officials were handed over with final written warnings. The National Commissioner was instructed to develop an appropriate DCS escape prevention strategy, and he was given 90 days to do that. The Speaker of Parliament, or the Speaker of the National Assembly, was instructed to bring to the attention of the chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Justice within 30 days, bringing the findings of this report within 30 days.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much for that update, talking to us about the public protector's findings as to exactly what happened when Thabo Bester escaped from prison.